Right. So we were looking at how we were gonna start. Where the hell is it? How we were gonna actually create the props of the Sandpack provider, and I think we kind of nailed it. So a sandbox is gonna be either this object where you can choose a template, the files, and all that stuff. Or it can be just a template. So you can say like React or whatever, which has like a preset template, which is used by the like underlying environment and some preset files and everything. So it's just a shortcut for doing that. Or you can give it a function. And by giving it a function, it expects to return a promise of a specific sandbox type. That being a bundler, sandbox, a static sandbox, or a VM sandbox. And then we just have this on change where you can go in and you'll get an event there every time something changes on the file system. And you'll get the event which describes the actual file system event. And then you'll get the sandbox so that you can look at the sandbox type and you can decide what you want to do with it. Yeah, and I thought in this context, we can actually choose to fork it. So I think we're going to have a flag that just gives you, well, you don't even need that. You can just look at the sandbox to know if it's the, well, can you? Yeah, you can. So you can just look at the sandbox. Like, does it have an ID? Doesn't it have an ID? Well, then we need to go and fork it, right? So anyways, so you can use this on-change handler to actually do the forking as well. Yeah, so we're just gonna implement this, and I started doing it. Where was I? Yeah, and let's see, environment. Oh yeah, that's what I was working on. Sorry, I remember now. So the sandbox property shouldn't actually be static sandbox or bundler sandbox. This should just be local sandbox. And it's going to give you the thing that I don't quite like about this is that now we're going to choose static like this, which means that dependencies and dev dependencies doesn't make any sense. So I wonder if we should just do local sandbox type equals template. So we're going to have a static template where we only have files and external resources, or you're going to have these other things. Let's see, or so this is like a local sandbox. Maybe we should call it something else. Custom sandbox. Yeah. So you can have a custom sandbox, or you can load up a sandbox. So this just describes this custom sandbox will result in a static bundler or VM sandbox. That's the point of this. But you shouldn't think about that. Like, so from a consumption point, you don't care about the environment. But when you actually start consuming what is there, you do care about the environment in the sense that in the on-change, where the hell was that? In the on-change, here you get the actual sandbox, right? With its environment. Yeah, I think so. At least we're much closer to something that makes sense to me. Okay, so we have custom sandbox. So now we have to go in and we have to fix. So what's kind of nice now is how the environment looks like. Oh, now I broke it. Oh yeah, exactly. So we're gonna get. Wait, what the hell happened here? Okay, we need to change this. So let's see. If type of props.sandbox equals function, we're going to do one thing, or if it's not, this is going to be the, sorry. Okay, let me clean this up. So this is going to be props sandbox. We don't need a promise resolve anymore. And then we're going to say, yeah, because this is actually going to return static bundler VM. Okay. So this is the sandbox environment ref. Sorry, environment ref current. Then we're going to move this stuff in there. Is that ding, 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 ding. Cool. So this is like loading it dynamically, right? And what we do, we just load the sandbox. Yeah, I guess we can just do this now. We load up the sandbox. We check what sandbox it is. We load up the environment and write the files and so on and so on. And if it's not a function, we're gonna do something else. We're gonna check the template. So basically, else if props.sandbox.template equals static, and then we have else. So I guess we kind of want to do this again. We're gonna make sure this current. Sorry, what was the? What was it? Environment ref. Current equals load environment. So this would be, I guess we can write static. Static. And then we can say props.sandbox entry. Oh, doesn't it have an entry? Oh, I didn't put that in there. Let's see. Where are you? Types. So when you have a custom sandbox, you need an entry. So an entry, and then we have props.sandbox.files. Wait, why don't you? Oh, it's because, oh, come on. Sandbox is props.sandbox. Okay, so then we just load up the environment, and then we have, I think we're gonna create functions for this. Yeah, I think we can do something like load static environment, because like now you might load it dynamically or by VM. I do wonder though, if we are going to support create like ephemeral dev boxes or ephemeral VMs. Basically, you're going to create a custom sandbox that's going to use a VM. Yeah, I guess that's template. So the template would be Node, for example. Yeah, that's going to work. And then we understand it's a VM and then it's fine. Yeah, okay, cool. And then we have load bundler environment. So let's take this and just return load static environment. And then I guess we pass in the sandbox here. Sandbox will be static sandbox. Look at this. Oh yeah, and then we have options would be a static environment options. Oh. Environment options. Isn't that a thing? Sandpack environment options. Ah! Static. There we have it. That's the one I was looking for. Sandpack static environment options. And that would be options. Yeah. And then we have entry and sandbox files. Nice. So if we pass in sandbox and then environment options, static, nice. And then we're going to do the same for the bundler. Return load bundler environment, sandbox, environment bundler. And this is gonna do something similar where we're gonna pass in a sandbox of bundler sandbox, and options would be Sandpack bundler environment options. Beautiful. And now we can do, here we can just do the same thing. Load static environment sandbox props.sandbox, and again we're going to use environment options static. Oh, now this doesn't work. Oh, okay, we're gonna change them a little bit because this is gonna be static hard coded. And this is gonna be bundler hard coded. Let's see. Environment static. I'm just gonna fix the last thing here. Load bundler environment prop sandbox, and this will be bundler. Okay, so we're not gonna have a hard exact type for this. I guess we can just omit the environment. And then we'll do the same here because we have the environment. There we go. Okay, this is really great. So now we're efficiently loading up the sandbox, it being a custom sandbox. Yes. And if it's static, we're loading up the static environment. And if it's not static, we're loading the bundler environment. And then we can extend this later if we actually have VM VM custom sandboxes, we can just extend it with the templates that you use for it, like Node, for example. Awesome. So now we have that in place. And then, yeah, and then we're here with our, so yes, and then, sorry, so custom sandbox can also have, there's some common things here. Let's express that. Oops. So what is common? Files are common, entry is common, external resources is common. So we do this, and then you can also say active file is a string. I can't remember the other thing we had, but we're gonna figure that out. So now we can do sandbox active file. Yeah, let's just do that. Cool. And now this one's happy. I'm happy. This needs the sandbox. And this is happy. What if I build it? Is it happy? Yeah, we don't care about that stuff, I think. Yeah. We need to fix this eventually, but I think we're good to actually run the thing. Oh, at load bundler. JSON parts. Oh, sorry. Did I keep the... Oh, did I lose all the IDs? Let's copy this and then... We went through a lot of iterations there. OMG. I can't imagine how simple, or I can't believe how simple it got in the end. Where are these IDs I was playing around with? Impressive history on this thing. Oh, come on. Where are you? Do we have you here? There you are. Thank you. Okay. Oh. Okay, so we're gonna give Sandpack. Let's try with a custom sandbox first. Template will be, well, let's try static first, and then we're gonna give it some files. Oh, this is a little bit boring. On change. Oh, you know what? We're just gonna load up an existing one and see if it works. So this would be fetch slash API sandboxes. Oh, sorry. Right? Oh yeah, and then rest JSON. Yeah, and then we have then data. Data. No, sorry, we don't. This is coming from our API. Is this it? Yeah, look at that. So now we loaded that thing, which is Sandbox, and then we can change this to this thing, and then we're loading up a VM. Beautiful. Okay, cool. So the only thing we really need to do now is to create this event handler thingy. So how should we expose this? So writing to a file now is something that happens in the code editor. And yeah, I wonder if we should just have a context that is like use props. That seems a bit simpler. Because now we have, okay, we need Sandpack state, but we can also do Sandpack props context so that we can consume the props. Yeah, I think so. Or should we Sandpack state provider? We could also use the state provider. Okay, let's see. Let's first look at where we're gonna make it fire. And that's also a thing. Where do we actually hook up the event? I think we can just hook it up where you actually do it. So onChange will fire when the code editor, you try to save the file in the code editor. Does CodeMirror have kind of like a, what actually happens now if I, let's load up just the sandbox for now. So yeah, exactly. Because we don't have a dirty indication. I think we just have to hook up a shortcut. Or we could also debounce. Or not debounce, but queue and debounce. So we queue up the events. Because the thing is that you kind of, well, now we don't actually, yeah, of course we don't see the change. Well, why don't we see the change? Should we see the change? Oh yeah, interesting. I think it's because we have auto reload false or something. Yeah, why doesn't it update? Oh, wait a minute. This is because of, oh yeah, I don't have the refresh. Yeah, it's there. I think. Yeah, it's because we have get element by ID inner HTML. There's no like hot reloading here. Yeah, I remember this was like a confusing thing. Like people are used to seeing the thing change as you type, but then for certain templates that doesn't happen, or because of the code it doesn't happen, and then it becomes confusing. Just like I got oh shit, what did I do? Hey, I got super big. Oh, there we go. Okay, so what are we gonna do? We're gonna save. We're gonna hook that up to keyboard shortcut, but this we could just hook this up in like the state provider. But then the question is like, what is? Yeah, we know the active file, and that's also part of the state provider. So I guess that's a good place to put it then. Okay, we're gonna do it there first at least, and then we're gonna bring in the, yeah, let's type the on change first. So we're gonna have a sandbox change event. So that's gonna be type, yeah, what should we call it? What does the file system do? Yeah, and the question is like, if you move something, what should we do then? Should we call it a move, or should you kind of get all the events that actually happens in the... Okay, let's just call it update for now. And we should give you the code. Or type is... Let's just have it there, delete. Yeah, and you need a path, of course. I guess we can call it content. Okay, so this is going to be a sandbox change event. And then you're also going to get the sandbox, which is the sandbox. I guess we can say sandbox here instead. I really like this. I really, really like where this ended up. Hopefully. And just discussing the ephemeral VMs. Let's see. It's interesting, like having these VM sandboxes. It's very interesting because it's like it'll be pricey compared to having a local sandbox. Um, um, Yeah. Anyways, let's continue. Unchanged sandbox. Okay, so in our there's also okay, let's just take a look at it. So Sandpack state, is that being wrapped around? Oh, sorry. Yeah, that can use the environment. So what I think we should do, let's see. All these icons jumping everywhere. Okay, we're gonna use an effect here. And this effect is gonna register save listener. Event will be keyboard event return window add event listener window remove. Please implement command plus S listener that prevents default behavior. Cool. So what we're gonna do here, we need to have the state in here because we need to know the active file. And I guess we want to also check and I guess we want to check that first, active file. And we're gonna now let's see, const and use environment fs read file state.active file. Oh, you're doing a lot of stuff. I'm wondering if we actually changed file say. Oh, okay. Let's see what that does. Let's see. To be able to control I am Dan Stack with documentation of several VM Sandbox examples. I create a branch of my docs to change an example. We cannot use a hash of the files because every time Tanner changes the code, it would create a new VM. I do not see how tags help here, because the challenge is tags help here because the challenge is when to create the new VM. I am thinking we need to allow to create userland would have to I'm thinking Tanner would have to create an endpoint for getting sandbox by tag. If it does not exist, he would create the sandbox instead, the new tag, like the traditional tags. Maybe that is what you meant. Okay, sorry. Was thrown into a picture. During sorry, I can explain what I'm doing. We're talking about like this tan stack has really requested like being able to run their examples on VMs. But the problem is that when Tanner is like creating a new branch of his docs and he's actually like rerunning the docs, writing the new code for the VM, we would create a new VM every time. But the process Tanner goes through is he creates a branch of the docs. He starts his dev server. He makes some changes to the example and saves. Sandpack reruns and would now create a new VM. He continues editing the code and saving. The docs reload, and again we create a new VM. If he could rather change a tag manually, it would only create a new VM the first time. So then it is challenging if he like deletes a file suddenly, because now are writing changes to the same VM. You okay with him creating a new VM every time he saves. Maybe fine. Sorry. Let's try this. Wow, this broke. Did I build it? Oh, syntax errors. What syntax errors? Hello. What the fuck happened? Hello. There's nothing here. Wait. Wait. What the fuck is happening here? Why is this one suddenly appearing? Is it like, do I have... What the fuck is happening here? Where's that thing running? That was weird. Let's see. You're down. But nothing's showing. What the hell is happening here? There's no errors, nothing. Too hidden. Wait, what's going on here? Oh. Was this because I was using the environment in here? But that should be fine. Wait. Oh, so it seems to be there's something async going on here. Why did this suddenly start failing? Okay, so we're gonna with the oh, that was the wrong thing. So with the VM thing, we're actually gonna allow you to. We're gonna use a hash of the file system. Oh, look at that. So for some reason, but I am what the hell? So I'm providing the environment first, and then I'm providing. Oh yeah, because we have that's where we have the suspense boundary. Excuse me. Let's put it here. There we go. Yeah, we're just going to allow you to, we're just going to create a new VM every time you save. Okay, and if I now do... Oh, that didn't work. Oh, I didn't actually... But prevent default, shouldn't that like prevent the thing? I find that curious. Why is the sidebar oh, and come on. Once more. Uh, um, that needs to be tested and worked on. Okay, sorry for jumping in and out here. This must be very annoying. Let's see. Okay, so we have that thing. I save. Yeah, nice. Cool. Yeah, and that's what I was wondering. Do I actually do I actually change the file system? That's what I was wondering. And yes, I am. Why am I doing that? Am I supposed to write to the file system? That's concerning with the VM. Like we shouldn't. What does the code editor actually do? How does do we have? I can't even remember this. Handle code update. Oh, we actually we write to the file system. Yeah, so I guess what we should rather do here. I guess it's here we really want to have this listener. And then when you save, we're gonna write the new code. So where's new code? Yeah, I guess we need a ref for the last code. Yeah, and it's also interesting, like when we save here, should we then reload the iframe? How should we do this? Because when we're bundling, like then we when we have the bundler, we can actually just write directly to the file system. Where should that option be? But we shouldn't write directly to the file system. Like you should save, like in terms of writing to a file system. But we could allow you to, well, okay, I guess we can allow writing to the file system. How are we going to do that? Like, who's responsible for that? Because now we kind of don't want to expose the environments themselves to, but maybe that's fine. So we can check which environment do we have, and then if we're on a VM environment, we don't write directly to the file system. But we do when we are on the bundler. But the interesting thing here is like this freaking example we have. You have to refresh the iframe. So that's also a question, like, but I guess that shouldn't refresh the iframe. No, you want hot reloading. Yeah, it's just a dumb example because you can't do hot reloading on this. Maybe we should make that one work. Okay, so we do have an option of like, where's that option? Where should we start? Okay, what we want to demo is actually changing files using a VM. That's the first thing we're going to demo. So we have to make sure that we don't actually update. Okay, so we already have n here. And n dot, what? If, what the hell? What's the parsing error? What's happening? Arrgh! Weird. Oh, we don't actually. Yeah, this is the thing. Like currently Sandpack, I made a decision that Sandpack shouldn't know about the environment, like the type of environment. So you could argue that, like, who's actually responsible for that on change? And who's responsible for... I am not sure. So we could put like an option, like, or a capability thing on the environment. So wow, why is this so difficult? So we don't, like, we actually want to save. The problem is that we can't just write to the file system on a VM on every key press. So the question is, what do we do? So we'll need to keep a reference to the code. But what if you have, yeah, like we have so many weird scenarios. So what if you do allow code updates? What if we do allow code updates on the bundler, but it's actually coming from the database, and we don't want to update the database on every key press, right? But we want to update the bundler. So we should, in that case, we should write to the file system. So there's a different scenario where you do want to write to the file system, but you only want to save when you actually to the database when you actually like command S the thing. But with a VM, you don't want to write to the file system. You want the event to have this is annoying. What does the code editor? Does it code editor props? Does it know which? But that's also a thing. Like we might change the active file. Yeah, exactly. So this is where it changes the active file. So I guess we want to change. Oh, set code. When do we call set code? Oh, we only set it there. Okay. But then if we, oh my God, this is annoying. I suddenly got a bit discouraged. I don't know why. Oh my God. Yeah, sorry. I just got super discouraged. Not discouraged, but tired, I guess. I think I want to step away from this and rather think about it. And I really have to pee. Because it's so weird, because if we use our local reference for the current code, we also have to reset that reference if we change the active file, which is also annoying. I don't like that. I don't like that. Yeah, I just don't like it. So what should we do? Well, I guess we don't have an option. Like we have to have a local ref, and then we just keep that ref up to date. But then we have to know if we should write to the file system immediately. Which we should do if it's a certain environment. And you have the option active. Like, because you can turn it off as well. Thinking. I don't, yeah. Suddenly it stopped for me now. Not sure why. Should we expose on the environment the type of environment, and then Sandpack can act accordingly? But then it's like for static and bundler, it's the same. We can just write to the file system. It doesn't matter. So it's more like it's not about the specific environment. Like there's no difference between static and bundler. That's the thing. So it feels a bit weird to kind of. But yeah, I guess that's how we should do it. So if we have a type, okay, let's introduce a type on the environment so that you know it when you consume it. And then what we can do here, we can check if the end type is not VM. And we have an active file. Okay, so we're not going to deal with the option yet. That's for later. So we're going to check if it's not a VM. And then we're just going to keep a reference to, okay, let's try that. Sandpack environment. So the Sandpack environment is going to have a type, which is going to be bundler static or VM, but it's going to have the exact same interface because that's the important thing. And then we have to make sure that VM returns VM. Oh, why are you complaining? Oh, equals VM. And static has a read-only static. And then we have bundler, which is a read-only bundler. Cool. So now we have that. Oh. Okay. So now we can go back to our code editor and we should be able to check what's going on with my TypeScript. Type not equal VM. Oh. I think we're just gonna always use that code ref. I guess we can do this. So where was it? Handle code current equals new code. And then blah, blah, blah. But we have to make sure that when we change the active file, we're going to set, we're not only going to set the code, but we're also going to, doesn't matter. Like this is just a code ref. No, if you change, yeah. Code ref current equals content. Oh. Code equals code. Yeah, because if you just change the file and you save, then it's gonna save the wrong code. Very annoying as well. So code, we should call this something else. This is not like the actual. Maybe it's this one we should change. It's kind of weird because this code is like, this is the uncontrolled code and this is the controlled code. Maybe we should call it code changes ref. Yeah, let's call it code changes ref. At least that gives us some idea how they act differently. And then we need to, well, I guess we need to move the thing. So let's move this into the code editor. So this would now be use effect. And then we would do, we're not going to read the file. What we're going to do, we're going to say nfs write file, state active file, code change ref. Yeah. Yeah, I guess we could call it like user code ref. Yeah. By the way, we talked about something really interesting. What's really cool about Sandpack when it gets VM support is that when you're interacting with an AI, that AI will use the SDK, CodeSandbox SDK, to make changes to the VM. But then since your Sandpack is connected to the same VM, you're going to see the changes live as the AI is actually making changes. Not just code changes, but the preview is going to update live as well, which is going to be really cool. Yeah, user code. Yeah. Yeah, I really hate ambiguous. Like I have a colleague, actually one of the founders. He's horrible. It's like single letter variable name. He's like the worst. He's an amazing programmer, an engineer, but he's the worst at variable names. And one thing is like having ambiguous variable names, but also having like letters or characters instead of actual naming things. But he's like next level because he has how do you negating variable names? So he never writes like is saving. He always does like is not saving, and then you have this if not is not saving. There's so much. Oh, he's okay with me laughing about this. I've teased him about this many times, but it's really funny, like how his brain works. I think it's because he's so like focused on the like the current thing he's trying to solve that he's just expressing raw from his brain. He doesn't take that step aside and think about the whole thing as intuitively. Like I do that all the time, but that makes me slow as well. Like he's insanely quick at just getting things done, getting it in proof of concepts. Like that's why he's a founder. He just has that hacker mentality. But this is like a side effect of having that mentality, I think. Anyways, okay, but let's call it user code ref then. So you made your mark. Let's see. And now we're saving, we're writing to the file. Yes. So now let's just build that, and we can try to run the VM, and it should kind of just magically work. So this is actually going to be quite a big moment if this actually works. So we're not going to see anything happening here, but you can see that it's sending the payload when I save to the preview, but it doesn't actually change the preview because this can't be hot reloaded. Oh, you're bipolar. Is it like yeah, I find it interesting. I was talking to someone on the stream who also had a bipolar condition, which was quite serious, but it was very interesting. He talked about how it affected how he coded. But as a result, when I'm in the zone to code, it's an all-out arms race to get it out of my head and into an editor. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, maybe like there's so many things that like it's very interesting to see how like internal conditions, like how they are exercised in the environment we work in, like with coding and stuff, solving problems and yeah, you see how I'm behaving. I'm like constantly stopping. I think I used to be have more of a hacker mentality before. I think maybe it's been kind of been here for so long. It's also been like finding my place, like where can I contribute? And since we have like hardcore hacker mentalities in CodeSandbox, which is very, very valuable, you also need the other roles of like taking a step aside, think about things holistically, taking time to like properly name things and creating API surfaces that make sense and all of that stuff. Yeah. Oh, anyways, interesting. Okay, let's try it. Let's try to load up a VM and try to save something and see if it actually works. Loading. So I'm actually loading Sandpack here, which is kind of weird. But we can try to return something else. Return hello world. Nothing happened. Oh, I haven't implemented write file, I think. Maybe we should do that first. That was a bummer. That would be an amazing moment. But let's try to share that moment once more. Did I actually implement write file? And I even implemented it. Urgh. Oh, wait. Why didn't it work? Why didn't it work? Um, We have to do some debugging here. I wonder what happens if I refresh. Yeah, I know. Like, I think that's the great thing about like this range of like conditions is that it's becoming it's for so long it's just been seen as, or maybe to some degree it's been an asset like for many people, but but at that time it didn't even have a name, right? But then as we kind of identified it, I don't know, like I don't have the historical perspective on this, but to some degree when it was more of a like when it got a name, it could easily be seen as a negative thing because it is like a condition. But then something's happened again, like it's becoming more of people see it as just a way of thinking, like how your circuit board is wired, that has like with everything it's had positive and negative sides to it. Yeah. But it must also be nice, like when I think about like I like the term spectrum because it's like everyone's on a spectrum of something. It's like just to the degree it becomes a benefit or hindrance. Is that even a word? A benefit or a liability in your life, right? And it must to some extent be nice to kind of have like a name for something, so you can adjust to it, right? So you can actually identify where it becomes an asset and where you have to be careful so it doesn't become a liability. Because I think a lot of people who are like not so far on the spectrum as it actually has a name, or they've been to a doctor and gotten a diagnosis, they struggle with that. Because it's so like up in the air kind of thing, if that even makes sense. I don't know. But I sometimes think about myself like I feel I have tendencies on different spectrums, but not to the degree that it actually becomes a liability, but to the extent that I think it would be nice to understand better how I can like make it more of an asset than becoming a liability in my everyday activities. Okay, so it didn't even write it. That's interesting. Okay, let's figure out why it didn't write it. Let's first check if it actually saving file. Okay, return. I'm gonna write hello world here until we make it work. Okay, so it's definitely saving it. But then what is happening to this environment of ours? Oh, wait a minute. I don't have access, I think. Do I have access? Okay, let's just look at what I'm not actually returning the error now. Do I get like an uncaught promise error? No. VM file system. I think this actually returns a result, which is probably, or does it just return? Oh yeah, this is coming from write text file. Oh, I think we actually need this one. Create true. I think that's the issue. Let's try again. Okay, return hello world. No. So it's definitely not throwing an error. I wonder what's happening. So this sandbox should update when just writing to the file system. It's running a Vite server. And when I reload the whole thing, it hasn't written to the file. So there's something going on here. What could that be? Okay, I'm gonna just log here and just make sure that we're actually, and I'm gonna even do a try catch around this. Because I'm using an API key from CodeSandbox, so I should have write access to this thing. Writing to, it might be, oh, wait a minute, I know what it is. We are writing it, but we're not writing it to the correct path. It's this.workspace path plus path. We have to make sure that we do that everywhere. This workspace path, this workspace path. There we go. What a silly thing. Okay, are we ready for the magic moment? App, return, hello world. Yay! Look at that. Cool. So it's working. It's pretty awesome. It's fast as well. That's more a Vite thing, I guess. Okay, so we have some success. That's great. I haven't actually thought about the next step. I think we want to try to persist the sandbox as well, because that's a different way of doing it. Because now we're kind of connected to the VM, so everything's kind of happening internally. But when we load up like a persisted sandbox, we need to call our server to actually write the file. So we can do that. And then we could add the refresh. That's kind of nice to have. But I have actually a meeting in 3 minutes. So I think it's kind of nice to end it here, I guess. And then tomorrow we can, fix the refresh, go and fix persistence for the actual sandbox. And then I think we should that's the proof of concept. Now we got everything working. And now it's basically just cleaning up the freaking API with all the different options. Put them in the right place and consume them correctly in all the components. And then it's good to go. We have to bring back the templates and everything. But yeah, I'm super happy about this. Yeah, awesome. Okay, cool. I have to go, but thanks for following along, and then stay tuned tomorrow if you want. Bye for now.